Hey everybody out there in the YouTube universe, this is Mr. Movie, and in today's video we're going to be doing another top 5 list. If you watch my channel, you know I don't do top 10s by genre like most YouTubers do. I do the top 5 movies by a particular actor or director that are in my collection. Sometimes I do topical ones, but today we're sticking to the script, and today is going to be an actor. So for the movie to be considered, it has to be by this particular actor, and he or she has to be either the starring role or the supporting role. So they have to be a really big part of the movie. It can't be just a bit part, because that I don't consider, even though they might be great in the movie and the movie might be great, doesn't fall under their particular category, so it doesn't make my list. In this video, we're going to be doing the top 5 Lawrence Fishburn movies that are in my collection. I love Lawrence Fishburn as an actor. I remember him as Larry Fishburn back in the days. And this list was pretty hard to do because, unfortunately, I mean, he's in a lot of movies, and it's kind of what I was talking about in my preamble, where he's in it where there's a lot of actors in it, so it's like an ensemble cast, so I can't consider it. You know what I mean? It doesn't fit into the parameters of what I'm doing here with the top 5 list. He has to be either the top guy or the second guy, you know what I mean, or really integral to the movie. So it was tough for me because there's so many like that, and I didn't really want to leave them out. Like, for instance, one of my favorite movies, and that he happens to be in it, is King of New York. You know what I mean? I usually don't like to, bring up movies that aren't on the list because I don't want to reveal what is and what isn't. But since it's not, due to parameter reasons, I can say it. It's one of my favorite movies. I love King of New York, and he's amazing in it. He's so great. You know what I mean? Jimmy. But the problem is that he's not the main guy or even the secondary character. He's a big character, but not big enough to the story to quite make the list, even though I love that movie. So that's the kind of differentiation I'm making when I do these lists. That being said, let's get right into it. Coming in at number 5 is Higher Learning. This is a great movie, and I think it's really important, this movie, because it deals with race, and it deals with, different types of people that are on a college campus, how they view each other, how race is dealt with in the school system. This happens to be about a college, and you have your different segments of people, and you see their college experience. And Larry Fishburn plays the main professor that you see in the movie. He has a West Indian accent, Professor Phipps. And he's really good in it, and he's really important because he's kind of the moral compass of the movie, and he takes who I would consider the main character, the Omar Epps character. He takes him under his wing in a tough love sort of way, and tries to explain to him, that you have to do things for yourself. You can't sit back as a black man and blame the white man or blame the system and all this stuff. It's more about what you're doing for yourself. And, there's a skinhead faction of Nazi, neo-Nazis, and, they're racist, and they're against, the blacks and the Jews. And they turn this one kid who was played by Michael Rappaport, who was kind of like a country bumpkin, and they radicalize him. And you got the main character who's a track star, and he's trying to keep his scholarship and do well in school, but he's got these pressures, and they're getting into it with the white kids, and there's a bunch of different little segments, and I like when they do this in movies, little separate stories all in the same kind of place. So it's all the same college, but you got, you know, the main character who's an athlete. You got the kid who doesn't know any better, who gets radicalized. You got the girl who, you know, she gets raped and she's dealing with her sexuality. And there's all these different stories going on at the same time in this one setting, which is this college. And Larry Fishburne, basically, his whole thing is kind of, you know, trying to guide people, regardless of color, trying to guide people on the right path and try to teach them that, you know, the system might be against you, everything might be against you, but it's up to you to do the right thing, make the right decisions, and go on the right path. But it's a really important movie because, like I said, it deals with race and it deals with prejudices and all of that in an academic setting. And, you know, we're dealing with a lot of that stuff today. And I think it's a very important film. And he's probably the most important character who you should listen to and listen to what he says and understand where he's coming from, because he's kind of giving you the moral guidance to understand how you should probably be and how you should function in society, which is one of the main points of college. So really, really good movie, intense parts, great acting, and a John Singleton movie. You know, so there's great directing, and I really think that everybody should check this movie out, especially now. Great movie. He's great in it. Number 5, High Learning. Number 4, completely switching gears, is Hoodlum. This is another great movie. This is a gangster movie from the 30s. You know, and he plays Bumpy Johnson, who ran Harlem. And, you know, you got Tim Roth playing Dutch Schultz. It's the struggle for basically the criminal, if you will, soul of Harlem, because, you know, Dutch Schultz is trying to move in on the numbers racket, and they go to war, you know, and it's not so much a racial thing as it is about, it's a money thing. And kind of Bumpy Johnson is, you know, is the saving grace sort of Harlem, but he's struggling with not trying to be a bad guy, like a criminal, even though that's what he is. You know, he falls in love, and, you know, he tries to take care of the people. He's almost like a Robin Hood figure. And, you know, he has to make a lot of tough decisions when it comes to friends and family. He's got to be ruthless, and a lot of good action, a lot of good lines, great scenes. It's a real good period piece gangster film from the 30s, you know, during Prohibition and all that stuff. So you got the running the numbers. You got the Italians involved with, you know, Andy Garcia plays Lucky Luciano. And, you know, it's about him and his people not bending to the will of the, you know, Italian or Irish or, you know, Jewish or any other type of gangsters. Harlem is theirs, and he's the one who's running it. I mean, there is someone who's running it, and he works for this person. But the problem is that it's a female. She's kind of getting soft. Like, you know, she doesn't think that she could beat Dutch Schultz. And Bumpy takes him on head on and says, you know, kind of goes over her head a little and ends up taking over. And really good period piece. Really good action, cool sequences. If you like gangster films, this is a good one. And it's based on what happened. I mean, it's not exactly what happened, but, you know, it's based on it. A lot of it is what really happened. So it's not quite a true story, but 95%, I would say, is accurate to history. So really good movie, and, you know, interesting, but also entertaining because, if you like gangster films. And he's really great in it, plays a great Bumpy Johnson, and Tim Roth's a great Dutch Schultz. So I suggest it, check it out. Coming in at number 4 is Hoodlum. Coming in at number 3, another very important film, very entertaining, great movie, Boys in the Hood. Another one where Larry Fishburne kind of plays the moral compass. I mean, you know, they're in Compton, you know, during the 80s, you know, when you had all the gang violence, you know, and people shooting each other up every day, and he's kind of trying to keep his son out of it, and even though he's surrounded by it, And he tries to teach the other kids too, you know, that this isn't the way. And you know, he's a businessman and he's smart, and he tries to like tell them that this is not the way to go. You know, you see all this around you, you don't have to be a part of this. You know what I mean? You could be above this. You're smarter than this. And he tries to instill that in the people, you know, that live in his neighborhood and are his son's friends. His main concern is his son. But if he could save the community and his son's friends, he wants to do that too. So it's an important movie because it shows just, you know, how terrible gang violence is, and violence in general, and just, you know, kind of how, you know, in minority cities and towns, bad parts of those neighborhoods, you know, these gang members and stuff, you know, you look at them as criminals and all this stuff, but I mean, if you look where they come from and what they have to deal with, they don't have any hope, you know, and it's sad. And his character is very important, trying to say you don't have to go that route. You don't have to be that way. You can expand and you could be whatever you want. And I mean, it's a violent film, but it's showing you reality, you know, it's showing you how it really was in Compton then. And I remember, you know, coming from New York, growing up, I didn't know too much about what was going on in LA. And this gave you a really good glimpse into how it is. You know, there's a few movies like that, but I think this is the best of them, and it's a very important movie. And it doesn't glorify it so much. I mean, there's parts of it, you know, you get into it, you get involved and like the characters, and you know, you kind of root for them, but they're criminals, they're gangsters, so you kind of have to step back a little bit and look at your own morality and say, you know, should I be rooting for these guys? So it's entertaining and in that way, in the action and stuff that goes on, but it's a deep film. You know, it's another one you have to look at, and you know, it's another John Singleton film. It's, you know, it's something you have to look at and analyze, and I think that's what makes it important, as well as being entertaining. And again, Larry Fishburne's character is the moral compass in the movie, trying to do the right thing. You know, it's another movie, Do the Right Thing. But you know, I think just like in Higher Learning, he's the character you should probably listen to the most, as opposed to, you can watch everybody else, but listen to him the most, because he's kind of trying to break it down for everybody and show you the better way. Really entertaining movie. One of the best, I guess you'd say, gangster flicks, you know, not mafia, but gangster flicks out there, because it also has a meaning. So Boys in the Hood, and that comes in at number 3. Number 2, this one is a little different than that. This one, excuse me, eyes itching. Deep Cover. Not my introduction to Larry Fishburne, because I mean, I remember seeing him, you know, he was a kid in Apocalypse Now. He's like 17, but I mean, this was his first big movie to me, you know what I mean, where he was the guy. Him and Jeff Goldblum play off each other great in this movie. He's an undercover cop, again, trying to do the right thing in a messed up situation, messed up neighborhood, drugs and all that, but he's trying to get the drugs out of the neighborhood and stop the drugs, you know, because he's a cop. His father was killed in a violent crime, and you know, he's trying to do the right thing from the system in, you know, like in outwards, trying to, let's go be a cop, do the right thing, and try to fix the system from within, that kind of thing. But along the way, he sees that it's all about money and it's corruption, and they don't really care about, you know, the poor people and the people that are addicted and stuff like that. They care about the money and political pressure and all that kind of thing. Right on cue. You know, they care more about that kind of stuff than they do about helping the people, and that's what he signed up for. So, you know, eventually he's like, screw it. You know, if I was a cop playing a drug dealer, when he said, well, I'm nothing but a drug dealer playing a cop. You know, he's like, I can make more money doing this, and if they're going to get it from someone, it might as well be me. If I can't help the system, you know, maybe I'll just become part of the system. But, you know, eventually he learns, okay, this is just not the way. I can't be that person. You know what I mean? From when he was a kid seeing his father killed all the way through being a cop, he always had this strong morality to him, that he wanted to be a certain way, and he lost his way when he got all the money, and so he really couldn't fix it. He couldn't affect change and all that. He's like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna be the bad guy. But then he realizes, you know what, I have to do the right thing. I have to try to fix this. And he ends up turning on Jeff Goldblum, who's his partner, and ends up busting everybody. And then even up to the political connections that these people have, that they're involved with, he's like, you know what, I'm bringing the whole thing down, screw it. And he ends up having a little money on the side too. Really cool story, real good action, great acting too, and great character actors. And it's a really good story. If you like those kind of, you know, drug dealer, shoot 'em up movies, this is that. But there's again another meaning and moral compass coming through the character that Larry Fishburne decides to play. He seems to have that a lot, you know what I mean? He'll do the gangster role, but he'll make sure that it does have some sort of meaning, and there's some kind of morality that he could bring through. And that's what makes a great character, and that's why he's a great actor. So coming in number 2, Deep Cover. Coming in at number 1, totally different than all of these movies. One of the best movies ever made is The Matrix. Now, you might say, hey, it's Keanu Reeves' movie. Yeah, but Keanu Reeves doesn't get into The Matrix or know any of that without Larry Fishburne, who is Morpheus. I mean, one of the most memed things you've ever seen. You know, what if I told you? Or choose the red pill or the blue pill. You know what I mean? That's Morpheus. And he's so cool in this movie. You know what I mean? He teaches Keanu Reeves' Neo character everything from Kung Fu, you know, to what the Matrix is and what they're trying to fight for. And again, even in this, the moral compass, you know what I mean? He's trying to show that, you know, the machines have taken over and we need to fight back. And it's the right thing for humanity. And, you know, all that stuff might be good while you're asleep, but, you know, it's not supposed to be that way. We're humans. We're human beings. We need to be awake. And I think that's a lot of the things you see with him in different characters, is he's trying to wake you up. You know, whether it's gangsters or racism or, you know, futuristic machines that turned us into batteries. He's trying to wake you up. And I think that's a theme with Larry Fishburne. It's one of the reasons I picked him. He's one of my favorite actors. I really think that he picks roles like that for a reason. And he's so amazing at playing that role. And I mean, if you haven't seen The Matrix, I don't even know why you're watching this channel, because I mean, it's one of the biggest, best movies ever. So I don't have to go through the whole story with it, but you know, his character is really cool. And I think he did a great job. So one of my favorite movies and my number 1 Larry Fishburne movie. So counting them down, you got number 5, Higher Learning, number 4, Hoodlum, number 3, Boys in the Hood, number 2, Deep Cover, and number 1 is The Matrix. That being said, if you like Larry Fishburne and you have different movies, throw them in the comment section. Let me know if you have these in a different order. Also, we could chop that up. If you like my channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. When I make new videos, you get them, you get the alert, you can check them out. Like it, share it with all your other movie nut friends. And this is Mr. Movie signing off. And I'll see you again next time at the flicks.